start with two propositions. 1. The sky is blue. 2. The sum of the interior angles of a planar triangle is 180 degrees. Regarding the first proposition, if someone lives underground their entire life, never sees the sky, and no one tells them about it, they will never know this answer. Only when they personally see the sky can they acquire this knowledge. Thus, we conclude that knowledge originates from experience. For the second proposition, as long as you possess a certain level of mathematical ability, you can derive it through deductive reasoning. This process does not require practical experience or new sensory input. Thus, we conclude that knowledge originates from reason and innate ideas. Thus, arises. How does human knowledge arise? Does it originate from sensory experience or innate ideas? Descartes argued that humans possess innate ideas, and only knowledge deduced from these innate ideas is universal and necessary, like the second proposition, which he considered true human knowledge. Descartes' ideas inherited Plato's theory of forms, or ideas. Plato believed that all things in the world are mere reflections, particular instances, of eternal forms. The world of forms contains the templates for all things, and universal, necessary knowledge is not derived from posteriori sensory experience, acquired after birth, but from each person's recollection of the world of forms upon birth. Leibniz further defined knowledge, stating that it must be universal, necessary, and eternally applicable. Inductive methods based on sensory experience cannot yield necessary knowledge. Only logical deduction can produce universal and necessary knowledge. For example, the famous black swan example. Observing 1,000,000 white swans does not prove that no black swans exist. The theory represented by Descartes is called continental rationalism by later philosophers. Rationalism holds that humans have innate ideas, and true knowledge arises from reason, which exists independently of and superior to the senses. Knowledge built from sensory experience is unreliable. For example, seawater is bitter, or the sky is blue, are not genuine knowledge in this view. In contrast to rationalism, the British developed empiricism, which prioritizes sensory experience. Starting with Bacon, the importance of experimental scientific experience in epistemology was emphasized. Bacon argued that the senses are the beginning of knowledge, is entirely reliable and the root of all knowledge. Bacon emphasized that the inductive method is the only reliable approach. Locke, another British empiricist, argued that Descartes' theory was fundamentally flawed. Human knowledge is built on experience. He proposed that a newborn is like a blank slate, tabula rasa, with no innate ideas. Knowledge arises through sensory interaction with the world and external stimuli during growth. This is Locke's famous tabula rasa theory. Locke claimed that all knowledge originates from experience. Even purely logical knowledge like mathematics starts with axioms, which are self-evident but rooted in empirical cognition. For example, the axiom, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, comes from experience. Locke's theory is known as British empiricism. By now, continental rationalism, represented by Descartes, and British empiricism, represented by Locke, were locked in a heated debate over the source of knowledge. Just as the battle raged, another British philosopher, David Hume, emerged with a skeptical approach that dealt a fatal blow to both camps. Starting from skepticism, Hume challenged both Descartes' rationalism and Locke's empiricism, nearly collapsing the edifice of human cognition. First, he targeted Locke. Empiricism cannot answer how we can trust our senses. For example, due to light refraction, the apparent position of a fish in water is not its real position. Grabbing where you see it will miss. Hume keenly observed that senses are unreliable and limited in perceiving nature, making sensory-based knowledge non-universal and non-necessary. He then attacked Bacon's induction. It cannot yield necessary knowledge. For example, observing the sun rise eastward daily leads us to infer it must rise eastward. But if one day an asteroid strikes Earth, and changes its direction of rotation, the sun could rise from the west, however improbable. This possibility invalidates induction. To prove reason's unreliability, Hume undertook an unprecedented challenge, undermining the law of causality, the foundation of deduction. Hume argued that from a skeptical perspective, the necessary connection in causality is not absolute. For example, people link catching a cold to getting chilled, but the real cause is lowered body temperature weakening immunity, allowing viruses, bacteria to infect. Chilling is just a precursor, not the direct cause. Hume claimed that all seemingly inviolable causal laws are superficial. Prolonged scrutiny reveals their fragility. Human reason cannot grasp the world's essence or true causality, making deduction and reason unreliable. Thus, Hume's skeptical dual attack felt both empiricism and rationalism. He demonstrated that senses, induction, and even reason itself are unreliable. All methods of knowing are untrustworthy. Causality is doubtful, and without causality, the entire edifice of human knowledge built upon it becomes a mirage. Hume's conclusions are profoundly unsettling. His skepticism threatens to collapse the foundation of human knowledge, creating an unprecedented epistemological crisis. If all ways of knowing are illusory, can universal and necessary knowledge ever be attained? Who could stabilize the trembling edifice of knowledge in this storm? We shall discuss this next time.